perfect.
Welcome to another episode Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Eduardo.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. How about yourself?
Well, excellent. Thank you very much. It's my first interview in the United States of America.
We say conversation because this could go anywhere. I could be talking about Bigfoot, or we could talk about the mustachious, beautiful blue crab. And let me tell you
Excellent.
something. This is what attracted me to you, is the fact of not only your good looks, but
Well, listen something. You are living in Maryland. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
Well, that's the paradise for me. Absolutely. I just love blue crab. It's something beyond my powers. So
Let, let me tell you, you got it perfect. You have you have the answers to the world in what you just said. The factor of now, hold on. This is what's going to judge me though about the crab thing. So you run an Instagram page for everybody listening. He runs an Instagram page. Kind of focuses on crab meat and the importance of it. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, and I have issues with the crab meat thing because a lot of people love crabs, but then some don't like to pick them. And then that gets me. I'm like, bro, it's like you got to. Like, it's like before you get the cake, you got to walk through the valley of the death.
Of course. It's the same that I love bananas, but I don't want to peel it. So you have to peel it in order to eat bananas, of course. And you have some kind of joy of picking up the crabs, because it's a mess, it's a family thing, the gathering, everybody's with a hammer or with a I don't know how do you call it, but it's kind of joy of doing that.
Well,
you have to love it.
There's literally a podcast that was called The Crab Feast with Ryan Sickler. I'll make sure I tag him in this too. But the whole point of this was to have the Crab Feast is that the podcast was a chat that you would have at a crab feast. Because the thing is, people are like, what do you mean? It's just eating dinner, right? It's like, no. The fun part about a crab feast is not only how close you are with the people that are around you and how you have to work to get your food out. It's like kind of like a walnut. You got to crack everything open. But also, if you do it right and you put Old Bay on there, your hands are covered in Old Bay, which eliminates the cell phone. No more checking that during dinner, nothing. Yeah, he's got it, licking his fingers. You know it.
Of course, I've been doing this for many, many years. So this is something that I love. I just love it. And one of the things that I want to ask you, man, because I'm living the whole time that I'm living here in the United States, I'm living in Florida. Of course, I've been in New York, I've been in Alabama, I've been in many places here, but never in Maryland. Maryland is something that is on my bucket list. But tell me something, how is living in Maryland when you have the Chesapeake Bay right over your neighborhood? I don't know. It's something that is beyond my expectations.
I'm a few hours away from Baltimore, Maryland, which you're probably thinking of. I'm in Ocean City, which is like the tourist hotspot. But I mean, it's beautiful here. I mean, I'm so used to it. I'm looking for a change of scenery, something to do with the woods. It always seems like people always want to leave like in their 20s or 30s from where they are, I guess, are born. And then they end up coming back to it later. Well, it's the whole thing. Like, I'm so used to the beach every single day. Seafood. I mean, honestly, I haven't come across a piece of seafood.
You can tire of good things too. You can tire of good things too. I understand that. But if you are living here in Florida and you just compare the views that I saw on the photos and some friends that I have that I told me about living in Maryland, it's something that is so good. The standard of living is really, really high over there.
Yeah, like trying to get a house over here for myself was like, I think it comes out to like $1,500 a month. And then I'm looking like in like Pennsylvania or somewhere else, and it's like $600, $700 a month. I'm like, it's way cheaper, but I live in a tourist hotspot. So if you're going anywhere in town, I mean, people are like, it's going to be $900 for 4 days. It's like, whoa. How is a guy, like a kid in their 20s, going to be able to afford that longer than a week?
Yeah. No, it's something amazing. Well, right now I'm doing what I'm really good at. I'm a salesman, sells crab meat, of course, because it's something that is a It's my passion. It's my
Why is it
passion.
your passion? Why did the crab
Listen,
pinch you? Why did that
I
happen?
lived, I lived, let me tell you something. I lived in Malaysia many years ago. And on Malaysia, you know, everything that is Southeast Asia is Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam. The crab is something that you eat every single day. It's something that you eat on the breakfast. You can eat crab on lunch and dinner, and like a zillion's way of how to prepare the crab. So I get used to it. I love the meat. I love the flavor. But when I came to United States, listen this carefully, my friend. The flavor is, wow, it's another story, totally different than the flavor that you get in Southeast Asia. It's the same species, you know. It's a blue crab. You have over there Calinectes sapidus. That is the name of the blue crab, the scientific name of the blue crab. It's the same, but the flavor here is way better than in Asia.
Is that just
Uh,
because the spices that we're using, like Old Bay, is
no, no,
probably not
no,
something that's
no,
common?
no. If you take the crab meat, just cook it, steam it or boil it. You taste the meat is. Let me tell you something. Have you ever tried the orange juice pasteurized, the canned orange juice?
Yeah.
And when you take, yes, of course. And when you taste the real deal, the real orange juice is something sweeter and more flavorful than the pasteurized. It's the same. Over there, they have pasteurized and they have fresh, but the flavor is like a mild. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's really good. But here is beyond your expectation. And it's not just the domestic, but we have a crab meat from Venezuela, from Colombia, from Mexico, and it's way better than the Asian thing. Uh, Again, it's not bad, but here
It's a whole
is,
nother level.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that's why here we have like a culture about the blue crab, about crabs in general, because the flavor is much better than the one that you find on your local store that is pasteurized and came from Vietnam or China or something like that. Again, it's good. No, get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But the domestic and the Venezuelan and the Colombian and the Mexican is way better.
It's funny, my buddy Mikey Bowser, he's been on the podcast, but he's from Pennsylvania. He does like a celestial oddities, like they're like a ghost hunting group. And he came down here and he's never had a crab before. And he took a video on Facebook of him like, how the hell do I open this? And it's like him, like he's YouTubing how to open up a crab. And I'm just sitting there like,
Yeah.
this is like breathing air. How do you not?
Yeah.
And you just realize it's
Yeah.
different in some locations, but people are making fun of him because they're all like, he's like, I should have got a steak. And I'm like, no, you just got to know how to eat the crab. You got to find the flap on the tummy. You got to crack that down. You got to stick a knife under there and break it open. Next thing you know,
That's it.
it's the only animal you can eat its shit. People eat its shit, literally. Like,
That is true. That is true. But the perfect way to eat crab for me, of course, is with the Old Bay. Is something that is basic. But one thing that I learned down Malaysia is to combine crab meat with herbs and species. And of course, you have, for example, the five spice. Five spice is one of the most flavorful thing that you can taste ever. Is that it's the Chinese flavor that you get
yeah.
always that you get Chinese food is five spice. It's a combination of cinnamon, anise, clove. It's super good. When you taste it with the crab meat, is oh wow, it's really good. But I prefer, of course, the Old Bay thing. Is amazing for me.
Talking about herbs and five herbs and spices. You're talking about KFC changing up the game if they had a crab in their menu. Colonel's recipe ain't
I
got
will
shit
I will
on that.
send you some photos of the things that I prepare because also I'm a chef. I've been a chef for 35 years until I got this job on sales. It's my first time doing this for crab meat specifically. but I've been chef for 35 years, so I know what I'm talking about when I said that the crab meat is something pretty good.
I'm gonna ask what would be the most memorable thing or the thing that really kind of stands out in your mind when you think of like maybe a crab feast or a crab memory? Because I have one specifically. I'll give you an example. So I was like maybe 12, 13 years old. And I remember me and my dad, like we were going to this campground at a buddy's house. And he's like, all I want to do, I worked all week. I just want to sit and I want to eat crabs. This is what I want. We're going to go pick up a bushel. And this is what we're doing. So we're picking it up alive, a live bushel of crabs. We drove like an hour and a half from where we were supposed to be to go pick up this bushel of crabs from this guy for pretty cheap. I mean, it's like a drug deal when it comes to crabs, like trying to find the
Absolutely,
best deals.
because you have to focus on the thing that we are doing. Otherwise, you're never gonna eat anything because you have to pick it. You have to
Yeah.
pick the meat. So you have to be, you have to know what you are doing.
Basically, like
So
people out there that go like, "Oh, I don't know how
in
to
the
pick a
zone.
crab." Yeah, you have people are like, "I don't know how to pick a crab." Let me tell you something. I bought crawfish for the very first time. I fucking wasted 5 pounds of that thing. It came in like an 8 pound bag. I wasted 5 pounds of it. And then down to the last pound, I was like, oh, this is how you do it. And I was pulling out meat like a champ. Now, let me tell you, with the crab memory. So we went from all the way to picking up this bushel of crabs. We get there and he goes, all right, apparently all the stuff to make the crabs, the boiler, everything is laid out. So all we have to do is just go there and put them in the thing and we can get the grub on. Okay. And I'm like, all right, sweet. So it's going to take about a couple hours to cook the crabs, but still like everything's set up. We get there,
What?
nothing, no, like nothing was out of place. Everything was there, but no
Yeah.
tongs, no tongs. My dad's like, how the fuck am I going to put the crabs into the thing without any tongs? He's looking for
Yes.
like little tongs everywhere. There's nothing, no barbecue tongs, nothing. He grabs a monkey wrench and he's trying to do a wrench and pick them up from the thing. Next thing you know, the whole bushel falls over and
Oh, your
there's
father is a really, really smart guy.
look, he is. I will say that he will look for every last resource possible to get what he wants. But
Resilient. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he grabbed a monkey wrench and he's trying to get that thing open. Next thing you know, the whole bushel falls over. He's doing two screwdrivers trying to do it that way, and a whole bushel falls over, and all these crabs are crawling across the lawn, and me in flip flops at like 12 years old. He's like, "Get up on the picnic table." So I'm just sitting there like, "What is happening right now?" And he's literally grabbing them by the back fins, throwing them in there. I mean, they nicked his arm all up and everything. And then towards the end, whenever all the crabs are cooked, we're sitting there eating them. And I'm like, does it feel better that you worked for it? He goes, honestly, they could have cut all my fingers off and I still will be eating these crabs. And like,
Yeah.
that's the experience. That's the commitment, in which I've only seen with people that are from Maryland and other people that enjoy crab meat, because it
Yeah.
just, it's like ingrained. It's like air to us.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, I don't sell the whole crab. I just sell the crab meat because some people doesn't want to pick the crab.
That's how my
And
aunt
it's,
is. She just picks out the crab meat, like just
yeah,
picks it
yeah.
out, and then she doesn't eat it. She hates crabs. I'm like, you're every guy's dream from
Yeah,
Maryland.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the thing is that my first memory, my best memory eating crab meat was the first time that I gave to my daughter a piece of crab and she tasted and she told me, listen, Dad, this is sweet, like candy. It. She got it. I wait a second because I just my when she tastes for the very first time crab meat, and she told me what is supposed to be the crab meat: sweet, soft, succulent, and it was a blast for me because I said my daughter loved what her dad is doing. So crab meat for me is more like a living way. It's my job. It's what I love, and it's something that is I admire really, really much. All the people that is in the business, like Philips, the big players, and someday, we will be there.
I prefer to kind of go and buy the bushel rather than go to a buffet. I mean, it's nice. Like I remember my when I was like maybe 9 years old, me, my dad, my mom, and my brother all went to the bonfire, which is like this buffet of seafood.
Yes, of course, I know it.
And so we kept getting Alaskan king crab legs, and they finished probably 30 minutes after we sat down and ate, had a piece of pizza. They're not seafood people. So they were like, I'll take a pizza, whatever. And then me and my dad for 3 hours sat there and ate nothing but crab legs. And we just kept going like an endless, train on crab legs. And my
Yeah.
mom just goes, we're going to take the car and we're going to go see a movie. They
He's
saw,
waiting for you.
they literally saw Lady in the Water, and then they came back and picked us up.
Yeah. And what is your favorite meal beside crab, of course?
Oh man, I'm a big taco guy for sure.
Ah,
But
yeah, Mexican food
yeah,
or American food.
it I like like Mexican food for sure. I'm either like all seafood or like either the complete opposite. I can't do red meats like on like Thanksgiving and stuff. I'm the only one that eats crab cakes and shrimp. That's my thing. Like I sit in front, like Christmas time, my tradition with my family was my dad would make steak and he would make shrimp. He put Old Bay all over it, but I would just
Like
eat
a
the
surf and
shrimp.
turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I love meats too. But for me, seafood is something beyond. Seafood is and it's both healthier. Of course, it's healthier than regular food. But here in United States, it's really really hard to find good seafood. Down in Florida, it's almost impossible. Because I used to live, as I told you, I used to live in Malaysia. I used to live in South America and Venezuela and Colombia. And man, the fish that you can get over there is,
You find like
because
a 50-pound,
first of all,
like
never frozen.
find like
Never.
a you can find like a 50-pound piece of tuna over there.
Yes, of course. And it's not just tuna. We don't talk about the shrimp. The shrimp are gigantic. It's enormous. It's something that unbelievable. And the fish is super flaky, super soft. And of course, we have here very, very strict health issues. And always every fish that we get here in the United States have to be frozen first. And that's something that they take a lot of the good stuff from the fish.
You're
So
you're talking to a guy who's committed to eating literally a can of tuna a day for like the past 10 years, where I literally went to my doctor and he was like, you got mercury poisoning. I was like, how the hell did I get mercury poisoning? He goes,
yeah, with the tuna, man.
how much tuna do you eat? I'm like, every day, almost every meal, a can of tuna. He's like, that's way too much tuna. I'm like, first of all, any college kid out there that complains, I'm on a college kid's budget. It's a fucking dollar for a can. Like that is
Yeah.
I'm so simple when it comes to meals.
When I
Everybody's
was
like,
in college, I ate just ramen and tuna, canned tuna.
it's
That's one
it's
entire meal for a day.
I
So,
literally
and I was like this, super thin.
I literally have people ask me all the time, like, why don't we go out to dinner? Let's go to Ruth Chris. I'm like, you know how much Ruth Chris is? That's like $100 dinner. You know what I can do with $100? That's 100 cans of tuna.
A
I'm
hundred meals.
I'm that simple when it comes to food. A can of tuna, I'm good to go. You just stock that up and I'm
Yeah,
ready.
when you are on budget, you have to think very, very wisely. Yes, of course, absolutely. I'm totally agree with you on that.
Plus, I think what I really have an issue with the whole seafood market down here right now is the fact of everything is going through the roof in expenses, way more expensive than I was when I was a kid. I went to my buddy, well, like I said, my buddy Mikey Bowser, he went to that restaurant to get crabs. He paid for like 4 crabs and it was like 60 something bucks. I'm like, how much is a bushel now? And it's like even splitting a bushel is like 100 and something dollars. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Where the hell is this all going? I'm like, my dad used to pay 100 or $80 to get a giant bushel of crabs. That was enough for maybe one of us because me and him could tear up 2 bushels on our own.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, wait a second, because I have here my daughter.
Well, I'm talking about the crab market is getting so like saturated. All the prices are going through the roof. And it's like,
Yeah.
what's weird is all right. So I have a lot of experiences with crabs, not just eating them. And I'm not talking about the disease. I'm talking about like, I used to work jet skis. So when I worked jet skis, I would come across crabs all the time.
Of
I
course.
remember one moment I was sitting on a jet ski. There was like a whole army of crabs just waiting for me to hop in. I swear to you. Just looking at me pinching and stuff. I'm like, I'm not getting in the water. That thing is bubbling from the mouth and it is angry at me. But like,
Yeah.
even when you're walking into a grocery store or something, if we want to branch off from crabs, lobsters in the tank, I don't see that shit anymore. And if I do, they're dead, and it's like disgusting. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this
the color
was
is pale and it's not good.
it's where the issue is where like kids that would get dragged to the store with their parents. There's
Yeah.
nothing for them to do but sit there and beg and ask for things. What was the one distractor for us? Well, it was a lobster in the tank that you would go over, and it was like being in an aquarium.
Yes, of course. It's beautiful. It was beautiful. The thing is, today we have health issues on the food. We also have problem with immigration. For example, with the picking blue crab meat is always with Mexicans and Central American people, and we have an issue with the immigration. So the production is being really hit hard in the last couple of years. So the prices is gonna be up all the time. And also in Venezuela and Colombia, they have very hard to send the product here to the United States. They don't have flights. In Venezuela, there is always a problem with the political issues. And the problem is that we have less crab meat every single month. And the price is gonna be up for a while. Otherwise, although you have a lot of craft on the lakes and on the bay, a lot, but they cannot process it.
Well, the whole factor is even the ones where, like, if we go crabbing down here, and that's a great experience. If anybody out there's listening,
Ah,
we
it's
go,
beautiful.
we
It's
get the
beautiful.
chicken necks and everything. Let me tell you, I mean, it's a pain in the ass, but it's a lot of fun. Like, you bring a couple
Yeah.
beers out there, or just sit there with some family.
Do
It's a
you
good
like do you like fish?
I
Do
I I
fishing?
I am okay. I caught a trash can one time, but nothing like I could brag about a flounder or anything. But like when it comes to crabbing, I mean, right where I live in Ocean Pines, so that's right next to Ocean City. So like right across the bridge, basically where the land part is, I can walk to a pier and then I could sit there and crab all day. And I mean, that's the funnest thing is when you get the one person pulling up the chicken line nice and slow, making sure like, oh, when their eyes hit the light in the water, they're gonna go dazed. Make sure you have your net under there. And I'm just like, all right. And then you get angry at the person if they miss the crab when it falls off the thing, even if it's like 10 feet away. You're like, you missed it.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way I was going to get that.
Yeah. Listen, what other thing you can do in Maryland besides eating the best crab in the world? You're doing what other activities you have? Golfing? I don't know.
I don't golf, and I've been so drenched in the water for so long. I try and stay away from the beach. I know
For the
that's,
jet ski?
yeah, I know that's insane to say because like people that are in Ocean City or come to Ocean City are like, you got to be in the water 24/7. I was like, I fucking grew up here. I've been soaked in that bay water and I've been hit by a saw, a sprinkler, all those things in the ocean because people just toss their shit out there. They don't care.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, when you have a lot of anything, you get tired of it.
Well,
I
how
mean,
big was the change for you when you came from Malaysia? That had to be a culture
wow.
shock.
Yeah, it was a culture shock. It was really hard for me because as I said, I'm a chef. That's my profession. And over there, they don't. I think they don't have any kitchen in the houses. The kitchen place because everybody is eating outside every single day. So for the chef, it's like a paradise because you always have something to do. But here in the United States and down in South America, it's a little bit more slow. They eat for live, they don't live for eat.
Yeah.
In Southeast Asian, they live for eat. They eat 4 5 times per day. You have the breakfast, the pre-breakfast, then they have the breakfast, then the post-breakfast, then the lunch, then the post-lunch,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of meal over there. For a chef, you always have something to do, and the ingredients over there are amazing, my friend. The tomatoes, the mangoes, the papaya, the seafood, of course, is super good, and the herbs. You have amazing herbs over there. I have one favorite herbs that is the holy basil. It's like a basil, but with more fragrant smell and flavor. It's listen, I'm
Yeah, I can hear the mouth watering,
is
man.
I'm drooling.
I
I'm
get I
drooling.
get like that. It's crazy because like if you look at like the culture kind of shift a little bit too, and that's a hard thing. A lot of people really don't even understand, that culture shift, and also a lot of people don't understand the kitchen industry. It's a very
Yeah,
very tough role. I mean, very very tough thing to deal with. The whole factor is, it seems like now with food, it's like you said, it's living to eat. It's not an eat to live type scenario. There's an overconsumption problem. Not just like everybody's talking about GMOs and all these people want to eat healthy, go vegan, go keto, whatever. The issue is you do it when you're bored. I do it when I'm bored. You do it when there's nothing, either when there's nothing to do, there's nothing good. You just want to kill time. That's a whole thing. And it's like, that's where the issue is. You should be
right.
eating when you're hungry, but then your mind doesn't know when you're hungry because you're so used. And half of this stuff, dude, it's not even real food anymore. I
But
remember,
let me tell you something. You know why? Because it's a pleasure.
yeah,
It's something that you enjoy. Let me tell you how I convinced my father to, because my father is a super good lawyer. He's a very, very known lawyer down in Venezuela. And he wants us to be, to me, to be a lawyer as him. But I tell him something. I told him something when I was like 14 years old. Listen, Dad, how many times today you think about your doctor? How many times today you're gonna think about your lawyer? Or how many times today you're gonna think that you have to buy a car? And he said, no, never. How many times do you think about food? And he said, every single minute. Well, if I'm around you, you and me wanna do business, because that's the thing that I like to do. And he said, listen, you got me. So you can be a cook. And that's why I'm cook, because I'm a passion about the food. And I'm totally agree with you. Something that is that you like the food is something is that you um, cannot be without food. I'm trying to eat healthier right now, but it's not something easy. But you have to commit yourself. You have to do a plan, and you have to do it. That's it. And you always can do. Listen, my wife right now is very upset with me because I'm cooking a lot in my house, because the quarantine and everything.
yeah.
I have to cook a lot in my house, and it's a mess, of course. But if you want to eat really good, it's impossible to do it. Neat. You're gonna do a mess, because a good cook require time, a lot of pots, and a lot of ingredients, because you always can open a tuna can and eat it, and it's good. But if you want to eat really well, you have to do a sauce. You have to do a stew. You have to
This is
take
where it comes out of my realm of universe. Because I'll be honest with you,
absolutely.
at 22 years old, last week was when I first learned how to use the oven, just because I didn't have a need for it. But that comes from like how you came from like a culture where cooking was important, that whole thing. I came from spending most of my time by myself because my parents were working. So it was like, I'm going to teach you how to use the microwave, and we can figure out taquitos. We can figure out all these
Of
hot
course.
pockets. So like with growing up, like I didn't truly appreciate food until really when I got older. I mean, just like in the past couple of years, talking to chefs and seeing how much passion gets put behind it, but sitting and enjoying an actual, like my grandmom used to say, taking a potato chip, one potato chip, and sticking it in your mouth and then like eating it that way. And I'm like, are you like, I'm already handfuls like of Doritos, like crunching it down the gullet. And then I did that recently and I understood what she meant. But I think the main thing I'm taking away from a lot of what life kind of had to offer was all these moments I would go with my grandparents to Fridays, to Applebee's, all these experiences going out to eat. I would fucking kill for that now because of the factor of there's all this shift that happened even before the pandemic and all this type of stuff. Going out to eat was like being annihilated
Yeah.
because kids weren't paying attention with the cell phone. And
The
I
thing
wish,
is, of course, the thing is the eating activity is not just eating. Is the conversation is with your parents, with your grandparents, with your girlfriend. Is something that is beyond just eating. That's why I always say that eat is something, is a multimedia experience. You have to have the right food, the right flavor, the right smell, the right colors in order to enjoy it more than just eat and size up your belly. That's it. Of
what
course.
would you, well, if I was going to ask you, what would you say would be the biggest issue you see with maybe not maybe the world, but maybe just how people are taking like food a little bit? Because it seems like you have a very good insight on the fact of a lot that's going on with the industry. It seems like people are just losing the connection and just wanting something to stuff in their face rather than enjoying the actual experience of cooking, for instance, which I think was a major benefit of the pandemic, is that a lot of these people couldn't go out to eat, so they were home cooking and learning. And I started seeing like so many Instagram pages start up of people like, I'm baking my own treats at home. It's like, okay, the world is kind of going to shit, but that's awesome that you know how to make a strawberry shortcake.
Yeah. The problem with all of that is, of course, so many people lives out of the restaurants, and it's gonna hurt a lot. It's not just for the pandemic. As you said, everybody is learning to do something, and that is some business that gonna be without that kind of business. So it's gonna be hard because it's a trend that I don't think that is gonna go back. You will see many people staying home, trying to go out just for fun, not for the food, and it's gonna be hard. At the end of the day, to have a very decent meal, you have to practice a lot. You have to throw out a lot of food because it's not easy. I'm just follow the recipe and I'm gonna do it and that's it. No, that is not that way. You have to practice. You have to do it one and two, and special things like the oven temperature or the ingredient, where do you buy it, the quality of the product is something that is not easy to do, but the people are enjoying doing it in home.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I enjoy cooking the chicken. I'll let you know right now during this podcast, right now, I am cooking a chicken. I put it
yeah,
in the oven for 2 hours and 45 minutes. So I hope
what?
it's on 350.
2 hours? But
Yes.
it's a lot of time.
Yeah, last time I
Don't
baked it
do it,
that
my
way,
friend. No, no, no,
ah,
no,
I
no.
like it
Don't do it.
burnt. No,
No,
I
no, no,
figured
no,
out
no, no.
what bake and broil
No, no,
means.
no, 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 no,
I
no.
put it on broil and put it in
Are
for
you crazy, my friend?
listen, I put it on broil for 2 hours. I came back, that shit was like dark. And I'm like, that's what I like. I like it like
No.
that. I'm that simple. Look, I'll tell
Okay,
you one of the best
listen.
experiences. You can tell between the difference between if they did it right and if it's passion or heart that was put into it. Because I will bet you 9 times out of 10, I will take a meal where a person was passionate about cooking it and it failed over one that was followed directly by the
Absolutely.
book.
No, no,
Because
absolutely.
I've had food that has come from a beginner chef at like a pizza place in Pennsylvania when I went snowboarding with my grandmom. Dude left it in the oven way too long. Pizza came out crusty black. I was like, bro, and he goes, I'm so sorry. And he looked like he was going to cry. Like he was that upset because he was that passionate about his food. And I
Yeah.
said, look, man, we're going to sit and we're going to enjoy this pie together. And I sat there and I ate it with him. And it was one of those things where I thought it tasted fine. I
But
liked it
one
like
thing is
that.
to be patient about food, and other thing is to be obsessed about food. It's two things different. The patient wants to do. Listen, do you know the difference between somebody that is sophisticated and somebody that is not? The
PhD.
sophisticated doesn't have any fear. They taste everything. The sophisticated, he will do anything to get the good stuff. But the person that doesn't matter anything, doesn't bother about food, well, like you said, I just eat to fill my stomach, so that's it. I don't find any joy on it. And it's not bad at all. The thing is, if you are obsessed with the food, you're gonna be crazy.
Well, I think that's the issue with a lot of we want to talk about the restaurant industry too. People
Yes, of
want it
course.
right now. I want something good now. I want my steak now. I want my steak now. It's like you gotta fucking wait sometimes for that. I mean, it's never gonna be easy. I mean, I've never complained. I've never said I
I'm
need to
sorry.
see I've never said I need to see your chef or anything. I've never said that at a restaurant because it'll come when it gets here. I gotta learn to be patient. I think there should be more wait times on food when it comes to. I rather it taste fucking good than them rush it half-assed and then I get a blank meal. But then how many people you could fight are how many people are paying attention to the actual taste of the meal? A lot of people are missing out on those essential things like I was for so long before I actually started
Absolutely.
taking that bite and enjoying it. Like a nice clam chowder? Are you shitting me? A nice clam chowder is a dream of mine. I love clam chowder. And like nobody ever eats it in my house. I'm like, why? It's amazing. You get the perfect
You have here a fun fact. In Peru, they have a dish named chupe. Chupe is a chowder. You know the similar words,
yeah.
but with shrimps.
What?
The same preparation: potatoes, very good broth with some milk or heavy cream, and the name is chupe. It's the same. It's
I
an
I feel like Forrest Gump movie when he starts naming off the different types of shrimp. He goes shrimp gumbo, that had me mouth watering when
Yesterday,
he
I
was
was
saying
afraid
that.
that I may become on Baba Gumps to see how do you eat the crab. Well, I have the boiled crab, the steamed crab. No, I'm not that kind of guy.
So even through all the things you have from your Instagram page and everything, how come you don't have a tutorial page for maybe showing people, I guess, all the good parts about crab? Because I mean, a lot of it does get pretty upsetting when it comes to the fact of how badly displayed seafood in general does. Like, it's probably one of the most regulated foods out there besides fruits and vegetables. But I mean,
Absolutely. It's even more than anything that you can imagine. But the thing is, that is because the seafood gets bad really, really fast because the humidity that they have. Too much water. And the water is the worst enemy of the food. The worst.
and that just, I mean, obviously with all the pollution that comes into our oceans and stuff, but I feel like everybody gets a really bad distorted view of like, I don't know how many people have, and yeah, tuna poisoning and mercury poisoning aside and all, I mean, I'm fine. I don't have anything really wrong with me when it comes to physically,
Well,
mentally.
you're starting. I'm starting to see something on your head. It's like a horn or something like that. No,
It's
I'm kidding.
This is what I call my beautiful cow lick. But when we talk about like tilapia, for instance, I went to the store.
Yeah,
It's used to be 20 something dollars for like a 4 pound bag of it. Now it's
yeah,
like 12 something. And I'm like, what's going on here? And they're selling, oh, this is the perfect time of season because holidays, any of that type of stuff, everybody's getting turkey. That's off the charts, like
yeah.
expensive for Thanksgiving. Not this guy. I'm getting crab cakes. I'm getting shrimp. I'm getting everything that's
That's
like.
why. That's why you are gonna be my best friends starting today.
Well, let me tell you something. So when I'm getting the shrimp, they have a giant 40, I think 40 to 50 count shrimp ring roll for
Yeah,
$8. And I'm like, whoa, $8 for that? Because nobody's eating it. And I'm like, what's up? And like, didn't you see in the news about the fish are contaminated with this? I'm like, that is such wrong information. Tilapia is not that way. I've only had one fish I've encountered out of everything I've eaten out of the sea that has made me sick after eating it. And it might have just been that day, but it was flounder. And that
oh
is
yeah,
because flounder is a bottom dwelling fish, which eats up a lot of the bad bacteria.
yeah, yeah. That's possible. The thing is that you have to be careful. You have to read the labels. You have to. One of the most important things is that you have to know your sources. Of course, when you go to the supermarket, it's really hard to trace the sources of the fish. So it's really hard to find out if that fish is good or not. But if you have a very good trusted fishery, you have to make friends over there. They're gonna tell you what is good and what is not. And the other thing, when the price is going up, you will know it. When the price is going down, you will know it. So one of the most important thing is know your sources. of the fish. Of course, in Maryland, it's really easy because I don't know, but I think in every each house is a fishery. You have a lot of fishery up there, and it's really easy to find a good one because you have a lot. In Florida, we have like a three, no more than that. There is no fisheries here, so it's really hard to understand when the fish is good or not. And the prices is always something seasonal, as you said. So
I
it's
think it would be a pretty good collaboration with you if you teamed up with maybe another Instagram page, such as like an Aquapondrix, which is the people that have their own fisheries at their house. I think people that are doing this, like, I mean, I had an agriculture class in college, and it was they had a little fish aquarium that was like a giant, looked like a little kid's
oh,
swimming
Wani,
pool.
it's really cool to have aquaculture class on
Yeah.
college.
Well, it was like a swimming pool, and they filled it with fish. And you would watch these fish, you would hatch them, and all these things. You would basically watch this whole ecosystem. And at one point, I got so interested in it that I actually made my own pond at my buddy's house, where we had
Wow.
koi fish. They ended up all dying later. Don't. That's a whole nother story. They lasted a year and a half, but with winter time came by and everything, the seasons changed.
Yes, of course.
I was like, I guess the pond froze, so all our fish died. Well, that's not true. Apparently, the koi fish can hibernate. They went to the bottom of the water and they stayed alive. So we cleaned out
You think
this.
it's died? You think the poor fish died, but it's not.
Yeah, so we
It's
cleaned
clear.
out this whole entire pond and everything, cleaned it all up, made
And
it
you
look
kill
nice.
and you kill them.
Yeah, we killed them cleaning the water out. It was such a drastic change. It killed them. But I was like, damn, we put in like 3 hours of work trying to make their lives better. But I fed them honey smacks. My goldfish, I fed them like
Yeah.
the koi fish. They eat the little
Yeah.
honey smacks like food. It was awesome.
Wow.
But I think maybe you should team up with like an Aquapondrix type Instagram page and try and figure out better sustainable ways to help maybe in areas that don't have a lot of seafood be able to get that, because that is a very cheap alternative meal to get, and it is very,
Absolutely.
very healthy. And a lot of people,
Absolutely.
I mean, Maryland's the Tennessee when it comes to like fish. Tennessee's all
Yes.
barbecue and everything. We're all fish over here. So I'm like, if you changed your diet, you start to notice eating a heavy meat diet, it's not necessarily bad, but it's not for everybody. Eating a
Yeah.
straight fish diet, all bodybuilders, it's chicken and fish.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the best because they have good fat. All the fishes have, and the crab. You know that the crab have a lot of fat.
Yeah,
And
essential omega-3s.
absolutely. And part of the flavor of the crab meat, it came from the fat. It's really, really good for the body and for the body, for the hair, for everything. It's super good. And it's a great idea. Thank you for bringing up, because that is something that we can do. We have a lot of information here, and we're trying to do our best here in Florida to try to teach them how to find a good fish. But because it's not easy, when you don't have the whole fish, when you don't have the eyes, when you don't have the how do you call it,
The gills.
the gills, it's really hard to see if the fish is good or not. And here in Florida, it's almost impossible to get a whole fish because it's all fillet. Everything is frozen. Everything is not fresh. And well, but still you have to figure out if that fish is good or not. And we have the information. That is a good idea, what you said. Thank you very much, my friend.
I think in Florida, the weird part is the shift could have easily went to being a natural sea fish town with the fact of you guys are right on the beach right there too. I mean, not as close as Maryland is, but I think what happened was a lot of Florida is filled with very, very rich people. And when that comes to that, if it's not, it's usually steaks. It's usually stuff that gets imported from somewhere else. Because
Let me ask you something. Are you a zoologist?
a zoologist,
Yeah,
what's a
because
zoologist?
that's my theory. That's why we don't have good fish here, because we have a lot of rich people here.
Well, it makes sense because whenever you have a lot of money or whatever people consider a very good or fancy rich dinner, I've started to notice is that they want to find food that they can't get right down the street, somewhere that's not close to them. It's got to be imported.
All is
Wagyu.
important. All is important.
doesn't make any sense. And being from a beach town, everybody's like, I want a burger. I'm tired of having seafood. I'm like, damn, I must be in the perfect spot right here because I fucking
Yeah.
love seafood.
Yeah, you are so right, my friend. And that is a huge problem here. We have fish from the Mediterranean. For example, one of the the best-seller fish here in Florida is branzino. The branzinos come from the Mediterranean. And of course, it's super good, but it's not fresh. It's not, it doesn't have the flavor that you can find on a lionfish that you have here, or the snapper that you have here right on the coast. It's a huge problem. But as I said, step by step, you can create some conscience on the people to understand that if something is not expensive, that doesn't mean that it's not good. It's something that you need to find out. And believe me, when they try it, the price is going to be up, because everybody will want some of that product. So it's something that you have to work out. It's something that you have to do your homework, studying and trying to tell all the people that you can what you know. But that's my job, and that's what I do for a living.
What would you consider, I guess, your end game trying to be, besides trying to educate people on the beauty of, first of all, not only crab meat, but just fish in general? I mean, even selling it too. Like, I know trying to get this meeting going and everything, it was like, hey, I got to sell this crab meat by this time. It's like, I get it. I understand for sure. It's just sadly the world, even though as much as we talk about how healthy and how good it is to eat fish, when you still go to a doctor's office, basically 90% of the time people have really bad cholesterol just because fast food is so much cheaper. And you can
Yeah.
say you ate a fillet of fish, but that's not fish. I don't know
But
what that is.
that is something very important. Of course, that the fast food is cheaper than the regular food, but I don't think that is the main problem of the fast food. The main problem of fast food, I'm sorry, is the convenience. The people doesn't have time to cook. And of course, if you have to decide what to eat between McDonald's or a little restaurant in your neighborhood, you're going to take McDonald's because you pass through a drive-through and you get your meal in seconds. In the other hand, you have to go there, sit on the table, wait for the waiter, and you have to pass through the whole process. But in McDonald's, it's cheap and fast.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Fast.
I feel
And
like if you
in
really
Italy,
wanted it to be quick, you would just get a can of tuna, because that just requires 20 seconds with a can opener, in my opinion.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. In Italy, there's a movement named slow food, because the joy of the food is not just the taste and fill up your stomach. If the conversation is something that you have to take your time to do. And there's a movement, Google it, the name is slow food. And it's something that is growing, a number of people that is involved on that movement. And I grab a lot of information from them because they have good arguments to convince the people that, of course, you can have a fast food twice or 3 times per week, but not 7, not 14, because you eat a breakfast and lunch, or breakfast, lunch, and dinner with fast food. You need some time to get on your table and pretend that you are doing a good meal. Even if you have a tuna can, but you have to take your time with the food, because most of the problem with the food, with the nutrition problem, is that you eat so fast. You just buy and eat it in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That is not good, my friend. Believe me, that is not good. Believe me, sorry about my English. My English is not perfect.
I can hear you fine.
Oh, well, it's good enough for make me understand and understand and make me understand to other people. But the thing is, you have to take your time when you eat. Your body needs it. Your body needs it, believe me. and you're gonna flip your life amazingly. So try it sometime. So just pretend that you have a good meal. Your ramen soup or your tuna, your canned tuna, and put a glass of wine. If you don't have wine, just put a soda or something, but in a glass. Or, I mean, on glass, not a wine glass. But pretend that you are slowing your eating habits.
Every dinner can be a 5-star dinner. You just gotta see the optimism in it. And I hate doing comparisons when it comes to things, but use this as a comparison. Is some people are just looking for a meal, so you got to look at it like every meal that you're enjoying, even if it takes time. I mean, to be honest, I'm a quick eater. I want to get it over with. I don't want to sit there the whole time. But then I hear, like, if somebody in my house cooks food, next thing you know, bam, it's like it's a 2-hour, 3-hour process. It's got to sit in a crock pot. It's got all this. Even doing chicken in the oven. I do a lot of chicken in the oven. Just recently after learning how to use it. But
what is the best chicken that you have in a fast food chain? The best one.
The best I've had in a fast food chain?
Yeah.
Everyone loves fried
Like
chicken,
Kentucky,
but I like chicken.
Popeyes, or...
Oh, that's a tough one for me. I am a Chick-fil-A man, I will say.
Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
But why? Listen,
better options.
I bring it up this because here nearby my office, there's a Chick-fil-A.
Good.
And the line is like a Palmetto Highway.
If we're talking about the line though, then I'm gonna have to say I'd probably go to Popeyes. Nobody ever goes there really to get their
Nobody.
chicken.
It's perfect.
It's fucking delicious.
But you have to wait so much time to a chicken fillet.
Now here's a big question for you though. Where do you like your fries? Because I like Chick-fil-A's fries.
Arbys.
The curly fries?
Yes.
You're killing me, dude.
No question.
I love Arbys to death. I think Arbys, we have the meats. I think that is amazing. I love their meat sandwiches.
They always have fresh fries.
Look, I will prioritize their meat for sure over any fast food place. If I'm going to pick one, it's going to be Arby's. But if I'm going with French fries, it's got to be a thick cut fry, like a potato wedge.
Oh, okay.
I hate curly fries. I always say.
Yeah. If you are saying that, maybe Burger King have the better fries than McDonald's. Absolutely, because they are always crispy. McDonald's, when you have with the fries 2 minutes, they like soggy and soggy and not good. But Arby's is one of my favorite places on earth. Believe me. They have a gyro right now. You have to taste it, my friend. It's a newcomer on Arby's. The gyro is something that you will remember forever.
I will have to ask you to next time you go to Arby's, please get what they call the mountain of meat.
Yes, it's amazing.
Yes,
it's big.
I love it when they're like honest about their secret menu items. Like, yeah, we have a mountain of meat. What's that? That's about 5 pounds of all of our meat stacked onto one sandwich, enough to literally weigh your car down. It's like, oh, cool.
And it costs about $7, $8, something like that, because it's no sense. For example, the quality of the brisket in Arby's is outstanding. It's something that is really good, fatty and super tender, and the flavor is really good. And I think the Arby's is something super good in a fast food business. But absolutely, I can eat it once per week, twice maybe if I'm on a rush. But for example, I bring my own food here in my office, and I eat it every day with my feet under the table with an apron, and try to take my time. I just have a half hour to eat, but I need to feel that I'm eating like in my house, and everything is turned on a very good meal. Yesterday was a ramen soup, and it was fantastic. But it's a regular ramen soup. I put some herbs and some vegetable to improve the flavor, but it was really good. But with the calm of my lunchtime. I'm not in a hurry, and that's the best advice that I can give to the people.
if people put more care into what they eat and what they're putting into their body, like cooking, for instance, as much as they did to put into their looks, they would probably feel a lot better.
Absolutely.
Because you can look good on the outside, but on the inside, you can look
You are a
terrible.
fucking genius. I'm sorry.
I love it.
May I say fucking or not?
Yeah, you're good. That's funny. That was
I'm sorry.
great.
I'm
I
sorry.
love that. Keep it that. That's perfect. I love. Look, hey man, we've done enough shameless promotion for fast food places. Let's do a
Yeah.
promotion for you, man. Where can we find you at? Where can people see the crab page? And where can everybody talk to
Excellent.
Eddie the Crab Guy?
Thank you. I noticed that everybody loves to call me Eddie. I don't know. I don't know why, but
I like Eduardo.
yes, nobody. It's really hard to pronounce Eduardo. Eduardo is
Eduardo.
yeah. It's really hard. That R is really hard to say. But Eddie, they love me, call me Eddie, and I'm glad with that. Eddie the Crab Guy is something that I make because I love crab, of course, and I'm in the crab business. So the way that I can teach people how's the crab, if you see my Instagram account at the Blue Crab Guy, you can see that I have something called the Crab University. Is to trying to teach people how is the crab, how you can find the crab on supermarket, on fisheries, and how to order crab. Because sometimes believe that crab is the same. Super lump, jumbo, or claw is not the same. You can use each of the grade for different preparation. So one of the most important things know which grade is for which preparation. And that's the thing that I'm going to do with a Blue Crab Guy. And I'm working on a company that's have more than 25 years selling crab here in United States. They are leaders on the crab meat. The name is Doral International Foods. Doral is Doreal, Doral. And we sell crab meat all over United States. My main business is in Maryland, of course, Baltimore, all those places here in New York too. And every day I have to talk with the super cool guys that they are buying seafood and try to obtain the best prices. And, it's really interesting to do that. But one of the most important things that I do is trying to teach people how to know the craft.
Yeah, educate people on something a lot of people sadly don't know. And I still will say it again, Mikey Bowser, you do not know how to eat a crab. I mean, that to me just boggles my
Not even
mind.
a clue. Not even a clue yet.
I had to YouTube it and still couldn't do it. That is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and I've been doing this for almost a year, and I feel very comfortable doing that because here in Doral International Food they treat me super. I think they think that I'm other people because they treat me so well that I really don't deserve it. But prior of that, I've been a chef for 20, 28 years, a professional chef. I was the corporate chef for a big hotel chain in America named Euro Building. And I love to cook. That's what I do every single day. And that experience, when I put it here on Doral International Food, it is super good because I'm like a 3 or 4 step further than any of the people that work with me on how to explain the flavor and how to explain how to use the crab. It's pretty interesting.
Well, you're doing amazing work, Eduardo, and I really appreciate you for coming out and doing the podcast. And thank you for listening.
No, you are a super cool guy, man. I'm looking forward to see all the podcasts that you're gonna do from now. And I'm spend a lot of time see the podcast that you did before, and it's super cool. It's always I hope my podcast was half good of the podcast that I saw, because you are doing a
It's gonna be a great episode, buddy. Trust me. Thanks for listening,
yeah?
everybody.